so much for joining me. This is a foam roller recovery session, you might call it. So I'm just gonna walk you through my favorite foam roller exercises and techniques. It's great if you've had a lot of exercise in the last week, or if you're feeling kind of sore and you don't have the ability to go get a massage. When it comes to foam rolling, there's really two techniques. The first is actually rolling up and down the muscle itself, or the connection point between the muscle and the joints, the fascial lines, or it's holding the foam roller over a certain tight spot and waiting for that spot to naturally release. In both of these situations, it's really important for you to do your best to relax the muscles around the rolling space. I try to think of the analogy of letting my muscles melt over the roller, and of course, breathing will really assist with the overall sensation of relaxation that you're looking for. Foam rolling is not necessarily relaxing, and it's definitely not comfortable, but afterward you will feel so much better, just like a massage. So I'm gonna have some light music in the background, and you'll follow me from top to bottom. So let's get started on our back. Another thing I like to do as well is actually use the foam roller for an assisted stretch like you would get in a yoga class. So I'm going to start with the foam roller on the base of my rib cage and really my shoulder blades. Interlace my hands behind my head, and as I inhale, I let my back arch, letting my head rock backward. And as I exhale, I pull my belly back to my spine and lift the chest up. Foam roller stays exactly in this position as you let your body lift and lower over the roller. Keep going like that. And next time you open your chest, hold there for a moment. If you can achieve it, you can let your head go all the way down to the ground. Maybe let your arms open over your head. Your back is arched. Take a few deep breaths. If you get some pops out of your spine, that's great. Interlace your hands behind your head. Gently tuck your head up again, and then wrap your hands around your thighs to pull yourself up to a seat. Adjust the roller so it's the long ways down your spine. Roll back onto it. Here you might bring your head onto the roller if it's long enough, or if you scoot it back, or if you're comfortable, let your head open, arms out to the side. If you're still comfortable, legs can go long. Take about 5 deep breaths. Now that we're grounded and mindful and open, take your hands behind your head, tuck your chin, lift up, place one elbow at a time to the ground, and lift yourself up. We'll go back to the foam roller being perpendicular to the spine. Wrap your hands underneath your head and roll from the tip of the shoulders to the top of the shoulders. Up and down the upper back. So when we foam roll, want to notice where the most tense spaces are, because those are the spaces that we'll use the isometric isolation technique. Okay, now go to the top of your shoulder blades closest to your neck and just rub that band of muscle lining the very top of the shoulders. And now rock your body weight toward the right side and roll more onto the right top of your shoulder. Explore. You might find spaces that need more attention than the ones that I'm talking about. That's fine. You could pause the video or just ignore me and do what your body asks for. And anytime you find a really tense spot, you're welcome to hold it. The idea is to hold the spot for about 20 seconds. So I found one right here. I'm going to relax as much as I can and hold the spot counting to 20, Mississippi. The goal is to breathe really deeply into the tense spots and wait for the muscle to release. It'll feel kind of like a little electric pulse in a good way, and then the muscle will just spread out. Okay, let's go to the opposite shoulder. So foam rolling is funny. You'll often have to readjust your body. It's just fine. So now I'm tilted onto the top of my left shoulder. I'm using my legs as leverage. And once again, I've got a pretty tight spot here, so I'm just going to hold here for 20 seconds. Some tight spots respond better to the hold, some respond better to the roll. So you just do you. Awesome. And now come back to the center. I always like to roll out after I hold for a moment, just to let that lactic acid kind of spread out, release. And now we go into the center of our shoulder blades. So this spot will often respond better to a foam roller ball instead of the cylinder that I'm using here, to get underneath your shoulder blades into those really tight spots that kind of line the scapula. Regardless, you can get into it a little bit here by just rocking your body weight underneath one side of the scapula and then onto the other side. A few more rock and rolls in this area. Okay. All right, so next we're going into a pretty sensitive spot. It's the wingtip of our shoulder blade, so we can imagine the way the scapula looks right there at the very bottom. So I'll rock my body weight over to one side. Here, your bottom arm can just go wherever feels good for you, and find that wingtip spot. You might find that more into the center line of your body is tighter, or if you go more onto the edge, is tighter. These are your lats where they connect to the scapula. If you do a lot of planking, this is gonna get you. And then I usually start to go a little bit lower, so down below my rib cage. Think of that whole space where the shoulder blade and the rib cage meet up with those lower back muscles, your quadratus lumborum kind of space, lats, all sorts of layers of muscles in here. Ooh, breathe into it. For a lot of us, actually rolling onto our side, as I'm showing now, is good as well. Right in the armpit region. Oh. And if you really want to get deep into this posterior deltoid area, you bring your hands back underneath your head. And I'm back higher up in the shoulder now. Foam rolling does involve a lot of exploring. I'm just in the divot around my armpit. Okay, so now I'm going to switch sides. And again, I kind of let my body talk to me. So I'm going to start on the tip of the shoulder blade. I'll explore more toward the center line of my body, see how that feels. And then maybe all the way up onto the lateral edge of my torso. Just exploring this very important part of our back and our sides. Obliques connect here, all sorts of stuff. Now I'm going to roll over onto the side, see what's going on here. not to hold your breath. I just caught myself doing that. Okay. Woo. Already feeling a bit looser. So now we'll go more along the center line of our spine. So really where the rib cage and the spine meet. And then the section with no bones below it. A lot of us have a really sensitive spot here, right in our thoracic connection point. Ooh. And again, I just kind of move my body weight from side to side. My elbows are, and my legs, my arms, it's all moving constantly to help me find the pressure points and hold me up with as much ease as possible. So I found a really tight spot here. I'm gonna go ahead and hold it. And then just breathe deep. I close my eyes in case you didn't notice, and I just try to go in the Zen zone. Start to release while you hold it. It's perfectly great to move around a little bit again and see if the pressure has navigated to a new spot. Try to relax your face. I call it Buddha face. Just act like there's no problem, super zen. Woo! Roll out of it. If you're holding with me, switch sides. It's so telling foam rolling to see where your habitual movements exist, which muscles are patterned to work harder than the others. It can help you start planning your workouts to be more effective, your physical therapy to be more effective. Pretty tense spot here, so I'm gonna hold it. Big, smooth, relaxed breaths. Top of where our spine and our pelvis meet, and then we'll ride the line along the top of our pelvis. So a lot of us just tend to have, some meat and that connection between muscle and bone, as well as right along the center where the spine enters. So here, I just kind of explore, starting in the middle, small little back and forth motion, and then go out to the edges. Pulling my muscle away from my bone, just trying to create more space between the two. And then I'll switch to the other side. One of the nice things about foam rolling is when you get an actual massage, especially if you don't go to that massage therapist a lot, you're often hesitant to be like, wait, that's a good spot, stay there, But when you foam roll, if you find somewhere really sticky, you are in control to stay as long as you need. Okay, so we've done the whole step back. Let's go technique. Okay, and now we will take a stretch. So you'll bring the foam roller basically underneath your tailbone, one knee at a time to your chest. And this is really great if you tend to have lower back pain. Just let yourself relax for a moment. I like to bring my arms over my head. Knees are bent at first. And if you're feeling good about it, you can send your legs up to the sky. Maybe even point and flex your feet. Ooh. Roll those feet around. Get your cars for your ankles. Switch directions. Great. And if you really want to, grab onto your toes and get a deeper posterior chain stretch. So, carefully, 1 foot down at a time on the ground. And if this is enough of a spinal extension for you, just stay here with the foam roller on its lower setting. But if you're feeling lithe, lift your hips up, squeeze the glutes. If possible, you can also lift your ankles up. You can go on the high setting. I don't have the space for that, so I'm just going to bring my hands to the foam roller and squeeze my shoulder blades together and go a little bit higher. So it depends on the shape of your foam roller, but I just want to hold a bridge. We're sending some blood to the glutes, filling those muscles up because we're going to stretch them after this. Good. And now release foam roller to the side. Lift the heels, slowly roll vertebra by vertebra down. Bring your knees to your chest again, tuck chin, roll to a seat. Okay. Sit on the foam roller. Glutes. First thing first is I go from basically my sit bones, which are the sticky outy bones in the center of your glutes, up to the top of my pelvis, and back and forth. Just warming up the meaty section of the glutes. Okay. Next, take your right ankle on top of your left thigh for figure 4, and your glutes so that you're on the outside of your right glute. A lot of you probably just screamed. This is the most sensitive spot for most of us. This is why foam rolling is awesome. It's a great way to get into those glute muscles, glute med, glute min, that work a lot. So you're just exploring this big hunk of meat. That's not appropriate. Great. All my YouTube creeps were like, what? Hunk of meat? Okay, glute medius, glute minimus, we're gonna use anatomical terms. Glute maximus, great, gets here as well. Gluteus, if you want to do it. Anyway, explore all the way up toward the top of the pelvis. Find that little ridge. And then go down towards your sit bones. And then more toward the center line. More to the lateral edge. Explore all this space. And if you find a really tight spot, hold it for about 20 seconds. I found one, so I'm going to hold now. Try to relax your leg as much as possible. Keep the foot slightly tense just to protect the knee in figure 4. We always advise that, but we're really looking for as much relaxation as possible. Our nervous system, it is safe and it can relax. This is another good place to explore a foam roll technique, which is where the roller stays still but your body moves. So you can do like a rocking motion, and when we get to the calves, you'll see that that's handy. Okay, roll out of whichever spot you just held if you did. Come to the center, take a roll up and down, and then let's switch sides. So left ankle over right thigh, and then tilt onto the left. It's that first one. Okay. most painful section, and I just slowly hold, and that edge releases a bit, and then I go a bit closer to the pain point, hold, releases. So finding the edges is a really helpful tool. And it's pretty incredible how quickly, it's still not comfortable this side, but already I have way more space to roll around. So, our body responds really well to massage. And evidence shows that massage is really the only guaranteed way to lessen the symptoms of DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness. There is also some evidence that foam rolling before strength training can help you lift heavier weights. So all good reasons to stick with it. Okay, let's move on. Woo, this is the best part. Okay, so while we're at the hips, I'm going to show you something weird that I do. I don't know if anyone else does this, but I like to use the foam roller, kind of like, I call it like a chiropractor, and I just lay to the side of it. So I bring it underneath the outside of the hip. I stack my joints as much as possible, knees, hips, shoulders. I bring my hands over my head, and I just relax here for a moment. I find it helps me. Sometimes I get a pop out of my spine here. Just a nice way to release the muscles on the top of the hip. You can even give them a bit of a rub. Well, now it's the top of the hip, but it's the lateral hip muscles. I call this fish swimming upstream pose. And now we will lay on the foam roller just underneath our hips. I tend to move it a little bit closer to my navel here, my belly button, and then I like to take a few breaths. It's another nice back release realization technique. And now we roll to the other side. So stacking ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, hands overhead, a fish swimming upstream. Okay, so lift yourself back up, foam roller to the hamstrings. So if I've never really found a great way to foam roll my hamstrings, if you have a good suggestion, please share it with the group in the comments below. But I struggle to kind of get into my hamstrings a lot. So here, I'm just gonna foam roll up and down. This is actually good core training. And I'm just kind of looking for a tense spot. But yeah, this is another time I find the foam rolling ball is a little bit more effective. Same as with the calves. They also make a foam roller that's two balls connected in the center. Yeah, so you could get one of those as well. Those are helpful in most situations. So I will take my right leg onto the right calf onto the foam roller. Left leg is just nearby. And here I'm going to use my knee to wiggle the foam roller along my calf. And I'm moving my leg simultaneously side to side as I roll out my calf. So this is really just about breaking up some of that lactic acid. I right now actually have a really, like a cramp on my right calf from driving a lot yesterday. So that was why I decided to have this session. So I'm gonna find that little tense spot. And since my calves are pretty thick, I usually don't hold. It's just hard for me to get deep enough for the hold to be effective. So I'm just gonna work it like this. Of course, if I can find a spot to hold, we do it. Alright, so I think it's a little bit looser. And now I'm gonna set my left foot on the ground and really go up and down in the roll. Here I might be able to find a good spot to hold if I can get the proper, leverage. It's just really important too to experiment with techniques. There's only a few things that you can do wrong in a foam roller, and I think the biggest one is rolling your IT band on the very lateral edge. Fascia doesn't respond as well, like fascial sheets like that don't respond as well to foam rolling. And you can actually make them more tense and more tight. So we're really trying to look at the muscles themselves, or we're trying to roll the muscles themselves and the connection point between muscles, which will have fascia, but it's not a sheet like the IT band. Okay, that side feels good. While I'm here, I'm just gonna stretch my ankle, toenails on the ground, and then switch sides. And I like foam rolling as well because you often will feel that fascial line. So if you hit, somewhere up in your right shoulder, you'll feel a response or a pull in your left hip. And it can help you, if you're learning about fascia or interested in just how the body moves as a unit, foam rolling can reveal some of those secrets. I do find that the calves take a bit of work. They're used to really carrying us long past their comfort zone. So I find that some of the tension is deep in the calves. So I usually spend quite a bit of time on them. It's kind of fun though. Okay, I'm a bit looser, so now I'm going to put my right foot on the ground and use it to roll deeper. And all the way up and down the calf, gastrocnemius, soleus. Let's flip over to our quadriceps. So we'll start with just one quadricep, and then we'll go to both. So elbows on the ground, and we'll start with both quadriceps and then go to one. I do a bit of a forearm plank pull here. So there is some exercise going on. We need our core to stay strong here. We don't want our lower back to get injured in this process. So it's pretty important to keep your belly muscles engaged and to really use your elbows and shoulders to move you around. So right away, I like to focus on just one leg, let's say the right leg, and notice the most tense spot in the right leg. You'll have both legs on the foam roller, but you'll just choose a spot on the right leg to hold. So find that spot and hold. Relax. Okay, roll again, all the way out, and now bring your awareness to your left leg. Yes, both legs will be on the foam roller, but find the most tense spot on your left leg, and you'll hold it there. Find your spot, and hold. Quadricep, you can see where that line of the edge of the quadricep meets the lateral line of the leg. We don't want to go past that, so you can just go along the edge. We don't want to get into kind of where it flattens out into the edge band. So I'm going to use my left foot kind of like a prop over my body and roll up the edge of my quadricep. Woo! This is another spot where you might like scream. That's okay. Breathe into it. And for me, this spot's a little bit too sensitive to do the hold, which is okay. I'll just go a little bit slower in certain areas that seem to need more tension, but I'm not going to stress out my nervous system and hold. You might not be the same, you might be able to find a hold. Do it if you like. Okay, I'm gonna release. Woo! And switch sides. Take more time if you need it. Sensitive, so I'm going to hold it for a moment. It really needs it. All right, and when you're ready, roll out of it. Wow, wee wow. Okay, so roll back up and down both of your quadriceps for a moment. And then we're going to go to the inner thigh. So this next position, you'll have the foam roller perpendicular to your thigh, and you'll be rolling through the inner thigh area. It's kind of hard to see, I know, on the ground here. So I'm going to switch back over to my right thigh. flex my foot into a half frog or a 90-degree angle. And then from here, I'm gonna roll all the way down the inner thigh and back up. And one of the reasons I like this is there is some hip mobility. I'm closing my hips to face the side of my mat and then opening my hips to face the mat itself. A little bit in the future, at some point in the future, I will record a foam roller mobility session as well, and we'll take this pose and add on to it. But right now, I just want to focus on the rolling out of the muscles. Another thing you can do here is lift your heels to the sky, roll more on the top, drop your heels to the ground, or roll more on the bottom, and make a circle shape like that. Okay. And now let's switch sides. This is another one that's advisable to keep your foot flexed to protect your knee. I just got to pop out of my shoulder, so hey, something's moving. And don't forget to try the foot up and then the foot down. Pop out of my sacroiliac joint. So that's great. Obviously this side needs it. And in foam rolling, it's perfectly okay to spend more time in one spot or on one side than the other. It's really mindful. You're just really listening to your body. Okay. And release. Great. So, one more time, I'm gonna have us roll back over onto the roller, release all the muscles in our body, take a few really deep breaths, and notice the difference that you've created from the beginning to the end of the session. Hands to the thighs. Woo! That is that. Wow. Thank you so much for joining me. Please comment below and let me know which one of the foam rolling techniques you enjoyed the most, which one of the positions felt the most releasing, and I look forward to seeing you for a foam roller mobility session at another time. Please make sure you subscribe and hit the bell so that you know when I load videos. I only do this when I'm in the mood, so I don't know when the next time it's gonna strike. If you want more regular classes, join my Facebook